Okay, so I figured out something today that I've been trying to figure out for years, like literally years, since 2016. And look at the year, it's 2024. So yeah, I've been waiting a long time. And that really is just to invert a spline warp. Now, I've been able to invert spline warps before. So basically, I'm just like inverting whatever's happening. So if something's happening on the destination here, then I would put it on the warp, on the source here. So I would go like that and then paste. And, you know, that just takes forever because you have to do that for every pin that's in the scene. And right now there are 2 pins, but each pin comes with the correspondence pin. So that equals 4. And so you would have to copy and paste values for 4 different pins. That's exactly what I did here. And it does work and it does look good. However, it's just not practical in an actual shot, because there can be lots of pins. So the way that I actually figured out is right here. And if we look at it, it looks exactly like the ground truth, but it is far, far easier to do. Okay, so let me just show you really quick how to do it. So I'm just gonna duplicate the original warp here. So as you remember, this is the original warp. Okay, it's just 2 pins. And here's the duplicate. I'm going to get rid of the name like that so that it's easier to see. I'm going to put the A pipe in, and now we can see that it's just doing what the original warp did. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and no matter whether you moved the source or the destination pins, I believe this should work either way. But yeah, we're going to move the source pins. So what we're going to do is we're going to toggle destination, turn it off, and now it's just going to show every single source pin inside of this node right now. So I'm just going to select the cursor, left click to clear any selections, and then I'm going to go ahead and left click drag and select every pin that I have right now. And there's only 2. So now that those are selected, I'm going to right click, move to B, and now it has moved to B. So I'm going to grab this and plug it in so both of them are plugged in. And I'm going to go to the output, switch this to AB warp, morph, and then we're going to bring the root warp down to 0, and you can already see what's happening. It is inverting the spline warp, and if I look at it compared to the ground truth, you can see that it is exactly the same. So this is actually different than if you were to, let's say, let me grab this, duplicate it. If I were to just do -1 here, you can see how this doesn't work, and this was my frustration for the longest time. I'm looking at both of these, and they are very different. You can see that it doesn't match the ground truth, and that's the more important detail here. It should be matching the ground truth, and it just doesn't, and I've never really been able to figure out until today how to get this to work without spending lots of time switching the pins around. Now, if you want a more practical example, let me show you what I would use this for. Okay, so right here, I have actually a practical example of where I would actually need to use this. So down here, I actually have this spline warp tracker right here. And what I'm doing really is just tracking all of these points on this shirt. And I'm just going to use this to drive pins. And you can see it's not perfect, but it's just to demo, you know, what I'm doing. So I'm going to exit out of here. Now, I actually have this little tool that was made by, Caden James. And what this tool does, I'll show you in a second, is it just turns every single one of these tracker points into a pin on a spline warp. So let me just show you really quick what it does. I wrapped it into this little thing right here. I think it was just a script initially, but yeah, the script is written by Caden. So let me just go ahead and select my tracker to pins, make a match move, and you will see right here that this tool specifically actually comes with match move and stabilize, which is very, very helpful, because what that means is that if I use this, let me go ahead and delete this. This is the match move one, match move. And if I look here at this checkerboard that I have, you'll see that it's going to match move, which is great. And I love this tool. This tool is very amazing. I literally use it so often. And if I look at the stabilized version right here, off of that tracker, go ahead and look right here, you will see that the plate is actually stabilized. As you can see, it is stabilized. Very cool stuff. Now, what would happen if you actually didn't have this tool and you just went ahead and hand animated a spline warp, or you just manually linked tracks yourself? Well, we're going to pretend that that's exactly what we did and that we only have this match move. Well, then you'd be in quite a predicament, because imagine trying to do 20 or more of these pins. That would just be very impractical, and you would waste so much time trying to create a stabilize just to even check your work. Like, for instance, I wouldn't actually use the stabilize right now for any effects, but I would use it to check my work. But maybe you actually do need the stabilize and the match move. It would just be impractical, take way too long, and any changes that you make or any new pins that you add will have to be updated in the stabilized version, and that just takes so long. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just do the same things we did before. So I'm gonna copy and paste this right here. I will rename this stable so that we aren't confused. But just so that you know right now, it is actually match moving, since it is originally the match move, as you can see right here. So not what we want. But if I go ahead and just do the same steps, which is to go ahead and click on this, click the cursor here, left click so that nothing is selected, turn off distortion here, or destination, I mean, sorry. There we go. And it leaves just the source pins. I'm going to select all of these source pins, right click, move to B. There we go. And then I will hook up B here and change this to AB morph, root warp to 0. And we're going to see right now that it just transformed into a stabilize. And now we can check our work very quickly. We can update this node very quickly. And we can just have a lot more freedom instead of having no way to invert the spline warp. Now, I don't know if people have already figured this out before, but I have never found it online, and I have looked for years and years, and I have looked, but yeah, I've just never found this before. So hopefully this helps somebody, and hopefully it can speed up your workflow. I've used this on match moves for cameras and for object tracks and just a lot of little tasks. So I'm very glad that I finally have a way to invert the spline warp. Hope this helps you, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.